Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the live today. Thank you for joining us in the episode 9 of Day-to-Day Life as a Reseller. So we're going to get the stream started here, hopefully a little smoother than previous times. We'll see how it goes. Thank you all for joining me in. For those of you watching live, greatly appreciate it. If you can let me know in the chat if we've got any sound issues or anything like that, that would be awesome. But we're going to go ahead and get started. And we've got a lot to do today, a lot to talk about, and hopefully we can get it taken care of in a timely manner and not keep you guys too long. But I appreciate you joining me in today. Got a lot of orders to go out. Got about 40 orders to go out already, which is crazy. What's up, Recon? Thanks for joining in. Appreciate it, brother. But yeah, we got about 40 orders to go out today, just under that, as well as a few other things that we need to discuss. The orders are only from Saturday and Sunday, which is pretty crazy. Normally we don't have that many, so it's pretty crazy to see that many orders come in just in a 2-day period. But yeah, so like I said, only Saturday and Sunday. We actually shipped our Friday orders, got those out on Saturday morning. And honestly, Saturday was even a slow day. So we were going through Saturday. I was like, oh man, I'm not even gonna have enough to do a video hardly. Just with how Saturday, I think we ended up with like less than 10 orders on Saturday. And then yesterday, everything just blew up. So really happy about that, but crazy how much a day can change from one to the other. We are shipping about $2,200 worth of orders just from these 2 days. And like I said, about 40 orders total. 1,400 of those sales came from yesterday. So crazy big day yesterday. Don't know if everybody's planning on the world ending today or what, and they needed to buy their stuff. I don't know, but it is what it is. So we're going to see how we do. Good morning. Sounds good. Just got back from the bins to catch you live. Awesome. So yeah, we're going to be talking about bins today, bin stores and so on. We'll see if my video here, it looks like it's lagging a little bit. Hopefully it'll pick back up. But yeah, we're going to be talking about bin stores and what all we got going on there. This week was bonkers. Yeah, it's been, like I said, my week was terrible. Well, not terrible. I shouldn't say terrible. It was just slow. Not anything real consistent. We go through a bunch of sales and then it'd slow down and so on and so forth. But like I said, this weekend was no exception to that, but it evens out. And that's how sales work. You know, we're going to even out eventually. It's just we got to wait for that to happen most of the time. So let's go ahead and. All right. Are we back, guys? Let's see if that helps some of these lagging issues. All right. I think we're back. So hopefully if you guys can let me know if I come back on live here, I would appreciate it. Yeah, had a Q4 weekend. Same. Like I said, Saturday was not great, but it was way low. Let's put it that way. It was way low. Not that it wasn't great, but it was kind of low. But it seemed to pick up. So cannot complain. Let's get started with the first order here. We've got some cleats. I noticed in my last video I said that I didn't have any cleats left over. I actually went through my cleats, and I do have. So hopefully nobody thinks I'm lying with that. I do have some. I should have been more specific as far as like baseball cleats and the ones that we're selling right now. Let's see if this video is going to kick back in here. But we do have the Nike golf cleats. These are the BOA cleats, which are pretty cool. They had the BOA closure on them, which makes it kind of nice, a little bit easier to deal with. Let's see if my video is back up. Sorry guys, this is not cool. I don't know what's going on with my streaming software. It's lagging like crazy today. All right, let's see if we can get this working again here. There we go. All right. Let me know, guys, if it's too bad, if it's lagging too bad, just let me know and we'll try to restart the whole stream. But we'll see if we can just keep it going. I don't know if it's my internet or what's going on. It was working fine yesterday when I tested it again. But of course, now that we're starting, it won't. But we've got the $24.99 here. These we picked up at Burlington. These were last year. They did sell for $69.99. So not a crazy come up on that, but still not bad for what they are. So hopefully we can keep those cleats. Now they did raise the price. What did I say these were? I didn't even pay attention. 25, 30 bucks. $25 and now $35 in Burlington. So if you're looking for these in Burlington and stuff now, you're going to have to pay up for them. And unfortunately, the prices are still lower from last year. So I don't know if they're worth grabbing or not. I kind of held off on most of them. I grabbed a few pair that were still comping good, but with the price increase there and people still having them left over from last year's sales, then it's not going to be probably as profitable as they were in the past. But yeah, it just depends. That's why you always comp. Don't just trust by what you've sold them for before. You do have to still comp and see what they are currently. These are actually an international sale going out through the eBay International Shipping Program, and that's going to be Matthew. So give me 1 second here. We got to figure out where we're at on the list of labels. I did get them in order this time, so I should, once I find this one, should be a simple process. But since I'm saying that, it probably won't be, because that's how things go. All right, we got the first one. Let's see how well we can go through the next few. But yeah, so these were sourced from the Burlington last year, and they're selling now that springtime is coming up. People are getting back in or out and playing, I guess I should say, not in. Back out and playing some golf. So those will go pretty nicely. So like I said, guys, we are going to talk about bin stores in this video. We're going to get a few orders out first, just so I can get into the swing of things. It doesn't always work out for me. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started with a couple orders here, and then we'll get into our topic. We did get some stuff done last week. I apologize. The last video was a little rough. I ended up getting sick. I thought it was allergies and stuff. The next day was even worse, so I don't know what was going on. But yeah, it was rough. So I did lose a couple days where I really just didn't get much done. I like to take those days, even though I can work when I'm sick. I try not to be one of those big babies, those man babies. But I do try to work through it most of the time. But I've gotten to the point now where with this job, especially your energy and your time and everything is worth reserving and making sure that you don't overdo yourself. So I did take those days, just relaxed and kind of got over it. It helped a lot. So I don't mind that too much. Like I said, I used to work through every sick day I could, and it used to really bother me to not get stuff done in the day. But at the end of the day, I think you get over it quicker if you just go with it and give it the rest that you need. What's up, Goon? Thanks for joining in. Took a branch to the eyeball. All I got now is my hearing. Dang. It's rough, man. It's rough. Recon, nice podcast to have on the car. Appreciate it, Recon. Like I said, I appreciate you guys watching this. Our last video did do really good. We actually have over 120 views on the rewatch, so that is awesome. So if you are one of those that rewatch these videos, appreciate it. If you can let me know in the comments, let me know if you enjoy it, if you can make it through the whole video, if they're too long, too short. But we did get quite a few, and it's actually just been going up. I think I got a decent thumbnail for once, so that was pretty cool too. So cool to see the videos getting a little bit more traction. Hopefully that leads to a few more people being able to join us live, and we can answer questions and talk about different things here. You have a beautiful voice. Yeah, got any 10 by 8 feet pics. Just for you, Goon, just for you. But anyway, yeah, so that was our week. Like I said, we got sick, so I didn't get as much done, but we did finally get some of the reorganization done with that shelf that I was talking about. I think I've posted over on Instagram. Quick Instagram plug. If you haven't followed us over there, go check us out. Delco Resells. Same handle as everywhere else, but you can check us out there. We did post some photos of what I was trying to make for my tote room because I'm out of room. I don't have a lot of space. It's a small 10 by 10 room, and I need all the height space I can get, but I don't want to put shelves on the wall. So I designed my custom shelving unit and built it. Took me like 2 days to build it, way longer than it should have because I am not a carpenter. But we got it done, and we actually got it in the room and set up, and it actually gave us storage for 12 more totes, which is awesome. It really helped out a lot with that. I didn't show these guys, but you guys have seen these before. These are those Nike slides. We actually sold some in the last video as well. Going out to Portland, Oregon. And these were, I believe, from the Kohl's clearance event several events ago. back when they were clearancing out their summer stuff. So it'd probably been last fall, maybe even earlier than that. And we sold them for $42.99. I think we paid like 10, 12 bucks for those. So nice pickup there. But got the organization done a little bit better there in that tote room, got the garage all cleaned up, got all those Burlington cleats, which I have that video, guys. I'm still trying to edit it and stuff. I'm really slow at editing, but that should be coming out here in the next couple of weeks, that Burlington sourcing video. But we've actually already started to sell some of those, and we got them all listed last week. It was like, I think 60, 70 pair of cleats, as well as some other shoes that we picked up from the odds and ends of the Kohl's clearance event. So we got those as well that came in, and we are still getting a couple of those listed, but we should have those done today. But that was pretty much my week. I didn't really do a whole lot more than that. We kind of talked about everything with doing the Tuesday live. Like I said, we went and did the Monday sourcing there at the Kohl's event. For those of you that do go into the Kohl's events, they do have the $10 Kohl's cash right now. So if you didn't hit the event and you think there might be something left, for every 50 you get 10, and the clearance event should still be going. Today is the 8th, I think, and I believe it goes to the 11th, so it's a little bit longer event according to their website. So if that's still going, you can still buy some stuff from there and get some pretty solid deals with the extra $10 back for every 50 that you spend. I unfortunately cleaned them out. I mean, there might be a few odds and ends, but not worth the drive. Actually, I think I'm going Wednesday, so maybe I'll check anyways. But I doubt there's going to be anything again. And here I am boxing all these without showing you guys what we're selling. We have these Giannis shoes. We've shown these before as well. Picked these up for $25, I believe, is what they came out to total. And we sold these for $69.99. So $69.99, not bad. I'm not the cheapest price on these. I mention this all the time, but I wish people would get the idea in their heads, especially tankers. Not saying you guys would ever tank, but you don't have to be the cheapest price to get sales on these. If you've got a better listing, better photos, or even just better style as far as if you have several sizes and stuff like that, do a multi-quantity listing, you can get that promotion without having to pay for it, and you can get more money. I just literally was comping these last night, and there was like people down that had them like 55, 60 bucks. There's no reason for it. I mean, I'm obviously selling them without being that low, and that's because, like I said, I've sold a few of them already, and I have multiple sizes available. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to hold out just a little bit for that extra few bucks. It makes it worth your time when you were sourcing and so on. It just makes it worth it when you can do it. So those are going out. I keep showing the labels again. Can't be doing that. Funny story. Let's get into that, actually. This is something before we start into the bins. We are going to get there, I promise. I'm not going to hold you guys out forever on that. But we actually had an interesting event happen last week. I got a message from a buyer claiming that I shipped them the wrong shoes. And so I asked them for some pictures. I was like, send me pictures of what you got. You know, maybe I switched it up. And sure enough, they sent me some pictures of some all black Nike running shoes. Now I have some like it, but he actually sent me a picture of the box also, and the tag on the, you can see the tag on the box. And I'm looking at the box, and I don't recognize the number on it. So I go and search through all of my listings, all my sold listings, everything. I never had those shoes. It wasn't a pair I've bought or anything like that. So I messaged the buyer back, and I was like, hey, just so you know, we've never carried that shoe. So you must have ordered it from another place. You never want to accuse them of trying to scam you, but that's basically what it was. They were trying to say that they got something else, and they wanted us to just accept the refund on them. They were brand new, at least from the pictures, but who knows if that's what they would have shipped back. But they messaged me, and so I've had that happen once or twice before. Scammers trying to get something out of you. Most of the time, if you rebuttal, they're not going to do it, but some of them will push it through, do an item not as described, an INAD, and get that refund, and get the return, and then they'll ship whatever back to you. And you're kind of screwed unless you can prove that's not what you sent. So I got to think about it. I was like, wait a second, I think I sold those on the last video. And sure enough, I pulled up last week's video, and they were the same shoes that we just shipped out, those Nike Giannis. It was the same exact pair in a size, I think 11. We shipped out on video, and I actually have it on video, putting in the box, sealing the box. I didn't show the label, but I actually, when I was putting the label on, I said, you know, oh, this is going out to so-and-so in Nogales. And I will slap the label on it. And so I messaged the buyer back. They responded back saying, how can they be a mistake, you know, blah blah blah, like all this stuff, basically trying to get me to accept the refund. So I messaged her back and let them know, hey, you need to look at your other orders. This order, we actually have our video proof of it being packaged and the correct label being put on it, and I haven't heard back from them since. So I thought it was pretty cool, and you can actually use that video footage with eBay. I have done it in the past for unboxing, so I know you can do it to kind of prove your point, and probably wouldn't have been able to get it, but it was just luck that it happened to be something I shipped out on Tuesday, which is pretty funny. But the buyer has not responded back. I don't know why. So one more scammer figured out and stopped, and hopefully he doesn't go after anybody else. But I thought that was pretty interesting for the event. Like I said, it was just crazy that it was actually one of the items that we shipped, and I happened to name out the person and the place it was going. It was pretty good. Next up, oh come on, eBay just logged me out. I love when it does that. Let me get logged back in here. That way we can keep shipping orders. Next up on the sales, we actually had these two hats. Same buyer bought both of them. Must be in Arizona. I'm guessing they are. This is a Diamondbacks. Are these salute to service, or they're called something else, I think. Can't remember what they're called. They might be salute to service. These are Diamondbacks, just a fitted large, extra large, $39.30. Picked these up at Marshall's last year for $9.99. I don't get this stuff in Marshall's. For some reason, my Marshall's never carries like sports teams and stuff like that. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but they don't ever carry these. But when I was back home in Arizona, where my family lived and stuff, they had it, and I decided to go ahead and pick them up. I actually think I picked up like 4 or 5 of these, and we sold it. This one here, well, they don't show the prices anymore. That's weird. I'll have to look up what I paid, or what that sold for here. Both of them sold for $75, so I'm guessing one was 30 and the other was, no, one was 40 and one was 35, something like that. We sold this one here. We've been selling these. These just sold out for me. Picked this up at Burlington for $12.99, but this camo was super hot last year. Really big. Armored Forces, that's what it's called. Okay, I was gonna say, I couldn't remember exactly what it is. I hate those INAD scammers. That's a Hat Heroes Dodelli. Dang, thanks for the name there. It's a Hat Heroes. No New Mexico sponsor. No New Mexico sports teams. But we're right next to Texas, so we normally get Cowboys and stuff like that. Everybody carries Cowboy stuff here. You know, so I would expect to get some of their merch in, but no, they don't get it. We don't get anything. It's just the Marshall store. I've actually noticed that I've gone to a few of them in some of the big cities, and you have like 2 specs of Marshall stores. You have like your higher end, and I don't want to say high end, but it's like your designer brands and stuff like that, and then you've got your other ones that are actually more of a discount store, almost like a Ross. And that's how the one is in my home state in Arizona, where I grew up and stuff. That's how those stores are. They get a lot of this stuff in. Mine doesn't, and I wish it did, because I see in Bread and Butter all you guys call out some pretty good deals from Marshalls, and my store never gets them. All that 4Golf stuff never came into mine either. So unfortunately, I don't remember what the buyer paid for this. Let me just look it up, because I don't want to. Oh, there it is. It sells right there, $39.99. Tag on it's $38. I'm gonna leave the tag. I don't think they're gonna complain about $1. We sold this one for $35, so $40 and $35 is what we got going out. And I actually have all my boxes pre-labeled or pre-set up, and I keep forgetting to use them. I keep creating my own. Well, that was a decent sale going out there. Let's see. No, it's spelled wrong. It's supposed to say that's what heroes do. Oh, that's what heroes do. Gotcha. Catch scammers. The Marshalls are like that in Jackson too. Yeah, it's like 2 different styles of store, and I'll be honest, like they get a lot more in those discount stores versus the ones that I have. But I'm not gonna complain. I have plenty of sourcing opportunities. I do like to complain. Not gonna lie, I do like to complain some. Doesn't everybody? All right, this is going out to James in Scottsdale. And like I said, he did pick up those 2 hats, so it even made us a couple extra bucks on shipping, because we can ship them together. What else happened this week? We'll leave the last story for that. Let's get into the bin stores. If you're watching live, thank you guys for joining us. Appreciate it. If you're rewatching this, thank you for sticking around. We're already a few minutes into this video, so I appreciate you sticking around and chatting with us. If you have comments, questions, leave them down below. I want to hear your questions. I know I say it all the time, but I really do want to hear your questions. I want to hear your comments. I want to hear what you're talking about, what you think of what my topics are. I don't expect everybody to agree with me. I would love for some people to give their own opinions on it. So please feel free to do so in the comment box below. If you haven't given the video a like yet, I would appreciate that too. That always helps me out greatly because it just helps boost this and make sure that I'm giving you the content that you want. Let's get into it. But before we do, let's start with this sale. We're going to box this up real quick. I got to peel the sticker, so I might as well talk about it. This is just a pair of Calvin Klein 3-pack. We did pay $10 for these at Marshall's clearance, not the yellow tag, which I should have waited for. But I think we bought these a year ago, and like I said, paid $10 for them, sold them for $30 on eBay. And this tag is going to give me fits, so let's go ahead and get started into our topic while we do this. Bin stores. For those of you that don't know what a bin store is, actually, let me get caught up in my comments. You guys are killing me over here. Catch cameras. Deli likes priority. Do you ship everything priority because you save money by not buying boxes? Yes and no. That I think I've talked about it before, but yeah, with the corporate account, you get a little bit cheaper labels and you get them priority. You can go priority for about the same price as what ground would cost. So it allows me to use the free boxes. Now they're coming out with priority, okay, I shouldn't say they're coming out with. We've heard from several sources that they're coming out with the ground advantage labels or ground advantage free boxes. And I've seen some advertisements for it, not directly for it, but showing them in advertisements on the post office and stuff like that. So if those come out, that will actually we'll have to see if it's still as cheap for me. I might have to start using some of those. I don't know, we'll see. But that is why, for the most part, I'm paying on most items about the same as what it would be ground advantage, but getting the priority rate. So it gives the customer a little bit faster. I don't actually tell customers it's coming that way most of the time. So it arrives really early. A lot of my feedback is because it shows that I shipped super fast because of the time frame. But it just allows me to still have my 2-day handling time and still get it there pretty quick. And like I said, I do use the free boxes and packaging, which comes in huge. That's why I ship so much stuff in boxes also, just because they are free. So I might as well give it a little bit extra protection. This box will not open up for me. But that is, yeah. Basically, it gives me a little bit cheaper there for the shipping. Most of you guys, I think, know what a bin store is. If you've watched my videos, I think I've talked about it a few times. I mentioned I get product from there, have in the past. But for those of you that don't, there are a couple different things with bin stores. A lot of people know the bins as the Goodwill bins, because that was kind of the original. I think they had those before there was even really a thing as like an Amazon bin store. Those are basically Goodwill's way of getting rid of stuff that they can't sell. They dump it in bins and you go through and pay by the pound. I've only been to a Goodwill bins once or twice, and it's great for used clothing if that's what you're into. You can find other stuff in there, but the majority of it is going to be used clothing. So not my forte, and definitely not how I want to spend the day. But if Crystal's in here, she's a cousin of mine, good friends. We talk all the time about reselling. That was her main thing up until recently. And she actually has a channel. If you guys want to check it out, I'll leave a link maybe pinned in the comments, and then we'll make sure to mention it in the next video too. But she has a channel that she just started doing storage auctions. So she's been doing clothing, used clothing and stuff like that. I think she still does that too, but switching over to the storage auctions, they've had some pretty interesting stuff. So I'll link that in the description. But used bin, like I said, Goodwill bins, obviously used stuff. It's going to be stuff Goodwill either can't sell or can't move, or just bulk. If they get too much in, they'll ship it straight out to there, and you buy it by the pound. So you can get clothing for like, 20 cents, 30 cents, stuff like that, but you have to sort through it, and it's literally just dumped in a giant bin. So, a table, most generally, at least, most of them are at least, 5 by 10 or something like that. I don't know. They're pretty large table bins, and they just dump everything in there. You have to sort through them. There's a lot of people that go through that as well and try to find those hidden gems. That's the Goodwill bins, and like I said, that is kind of the I don't want to say the OG, but they pretty much are the OG when it comes to the bin store idea. Now, what something that has always been a thing is liquidation. I love the bins, but yep, switching to storage auctions. Yay! Thanks for joining, Crystal. Appreciate it. But yeah, so the bin store idea, that's kind of where it comes from. And what happened is you've had liquidation places already that get Amazon liquidation, Walmart, Target, all these different liquidation places that you can purchase from if you have a contract and everything else. It's a big business outside of reselling. It's not really reselling. It's a different model. You might have a liquidation store in your town. You might have a bin store in your town for all that. For most likely now, there's a bunch of them out there. But it was a pretty new concept a couple of years ago, back in, I want to say 2020, right before the pandemic. I think there was a couple maybe that were there before the pandemic that got started. But like I said, when I got into sourcing from them and stuff like that, there were only like 50 in the US, really, like that were pretty well known. There might have been some more that people just didn't know about, but there were only like 50 in the US. And that was like owners that talked to each other. That's how they knew that there were that many stores. And basically they buy the liquidation from Amazon and do the exact same thing. Dump it all out in bins. People come in and search through that stuff and normally buy a price per day. So for instance, my bin store locally was, the first day was $8. The second day was 64321, I think is how they did it. So they were open like 5 days a week. And they started at $8. Everything in the bins was $8. The next day it dropped $1, $2, and so on and so forth until it got down to $1 a day. They emptied everything out and brought new stuff in. So you had a high turnover of product. It was not sorted. It was not categorized. It was just dumped in these bins, and you had to go through it. It was a lot of small stuff. Liquidation, like I said, that's a whole nother topic we might discuss later in this video if I get through all this too quick. But it's just it's a huge monster of a business on its own. But the bin store was a way of getting rid of high volumes of stuff without having to organize it, tag it, all that stuff. Just you had little prep in it. Basically, they could dump it out in the bins and let it sell. We picked this up from the Marshall's clearance event, Marshall's yellow tag event. These are good deals, guys. If you go in for their yellow tag events that happen a couple times a year, you can find some pretty good stuff. This one was marked down to $4, and we did sell it for $21.99 over on eBay. A lot of Adidas hats sell really good for me on Amazon, but this particular one wasn't listed on Amazon. Couldn't find it anywhere. It is a small, medium stretch fit, so that might have been some of it, but it just wasn't listed. So we did sell it on eBay, like I said, but obviously normally I can get $30 out of an Adidas hat, where on Amazon, but on eBay, prices tend to be a lot lower. But like I said, $4 into $22 is not bad, going out to J. Cruz in Brooklyn, New York. But that is the bin store idea. So like I said, they kind of started up around, I want to say 2020 is when it really took off. When COVID hit, especially, everybody started buying on Amazon because they couldn't go out and shop or didn't want to go out and shop. So they started buying online. Online sales went crazy. I mean, it was an insane hike during COVID. Now, what that led to, though, is all the returns from that were going to be like huge. And that's what kept coming in with the bin store idea, was the fact that you could go in and literally buy truckloads of Amazon returns. And I'm talking pallets. The truckload is is it 24 pallets, 28 pallets normally, I think. I think a full 54 foot to 28 pallets, if I remember correctly. We're talking 6 foot, 8 foot pallets stacked, and they're just giant, what they call gaylords. They're just giant cardboard boxes, basically, that take up the whole pallet, and they just stuff it full of all kinds of small stuff, anything, below, a toaster, basically, or something similar to that size, clear down to cell phone cases, mask, all that stuff. So all that stuff, you could buy like a full truckload of that for like 15 grand, 10, 15 grand during COVID, which is crazy, crazy cheap. And the reason why it was so cheap is because Amazon was having so much because of all the returns. So like, I mean, they had like double, if not triple, their normal returns, and they couldn't get rid of it. So they would drop the price and trying to get it out of there just to get it out of the way. That's the whole thing with liquidation, is it's not to make money on the buyer, on the seller's end. So Amazon or Walmart or Target, whoever's liquidating all that stuff, all that liquidation does is gets it out of their way. They don't have to deal with it. They don't have to hold it. They don't have to throw it in the trash. A lot of companies do trash it because it costs about the same. And so it's it's a huge thing. That was a big problem back then, especially during COVID, because these companies couldn't handle the increase with everybody purchasing online. So that's why bin stores took off. You could buy these truckloads for 10, you price it out at $6, $8, and you can make a ton of money on it. Now, what a lot of companies don't realize is that liquidation is up and down like crazy. The market goes up and down like crazy depending on how the market is going in general. So going into summertime, there's not near as much, or there's a lot of extra liquidation. It's all returns and overstock from Christmas that goes out. But during Christmas and stuff, there's not any. There's not hardly anything that you can purchase at the time. So you have to be ready for that. Tons of bin stores opened up. I don't want to dig into it too much, but a ton of bin stores opened up with this model. They worked great for that time period. But then once they lost the liquidation wasn't there, the prices went back up. So after COVID, especially, a lot of people started shopping in stores again. There weren't as many returns. The price on liquidation loads went up. That $10,000-$15,000 truckload is going to cost you $25 now, and it fluctuates. And so obviously you can't make money on the truckload if you're paying $25,000 for it. That's double, triple your cost of goods. You can't sell it for the same price. So some stores raised price, some stores closed. The stores that raised price, if they didn't have a good model and a good source of liquidation, then they closed. A lot of bin stores closed. All my local ones closed just recently. They made it further than I thought they would, but they closed recently. Just it's a crazy market. But unfortunately, the bin store model was huge, and it was super profitable, not only from their end, but from the reseller end. And that's kind of what we want to talk about today. But first, I need to get another order out. Otherwise, we're never going to get done. Next up, just a Pittsburgh Pirates. This is those clubhouse hats. Really cool, like the material. I don't know what you call this material, but they're really cool. 7 5/8 going out to Caitlin in Beaver Falls. And let's go ahead and grab that. We sold this one, I believe, for 45. Is it 45 or 49? Let's see here. Sold this one for 45, and we paid just the average of $10 or $12 for this. I think it's $12. We're gonna say $12 for these ones. Price tag on it's 45, so we're gonna leave it. Make sure we got the right size. All right, 5/8. So, like I said, the bin store model was huge for resellers, and that's actually what got me back into reselling on a higher level. What's the correct term? On a more consistent basis. I've done it on and off for a long time. I've done Amazon liquidation before, way before, back in, when was this, Crystal? Was that been 2016, I think? 2016, I think. I worked with a buddy of mine, and we did some Amazon liquidation, reselling it on eBay and so on during that time period. And like I said, it was a whole different animal than even before COVID. It was a lot more money in it. But when I found these Amazon bin stores back, this would have been 2022, I think, is when the ones opened up here local next to me. And we started shopping those. I decided, I was like, okay, this is awesome. I was finding a lot of great stuff, name brand stuff that, you're paying $8 for and you're selling it for $60. You're selling it for $100. You're selling it for $200. Crazy amounts of profit there. And that's what got me started into it. And if you followed along with any of my videos or content, I talk about going full-time within a short period. We started doing that part-time. I did that for about 4 to 6 months before I went full-time. Not recommended, okay? But that's just how it worked for me. And during that time, it was all bins. So the first full year, basically, of my reselling, like I said, part of that was part-time, and then about 6 to 8 months of it was full-time. We just sourced from bins. That's all we sourced from. So it was a great opportunity, and it got me started. It built my capital up. If you follow along with Adam's videos at all, you'll see his flipping from zero. He's doing it a little bit differently than I did it. When I was doing it, like I said, I was going to the bins and buying $600 to $800 worth of product. So that's, almost 100 items on every week. And flipping it, and most of the stuff was selling as soon as I could list it, because I could list it cheap. I didn't have to necessarily compete with other resellers, because it was just random items. It was just, whatever you found. And that's the whole thing with bins, is you never know what you're going to find. So that's how I got started in it. And like I said, we did that for a while. I didn't show that hat very well, but that is another one of those Fox snapbacks with the mesh back on it. Gray, sold that one for, I want to say 30 or $29.99. Let me double check here. Get this label off. Let's see. So we sold that one, just so I don't get the wrong info for you. I believe it was 30 bucks. Yeah, $29.49 on the hat there. Those are still selling really good for me. Hopefully I don't sell out too quickly. All right. So that's how I got started, like I said, with the bins. And there's a lot of profit in it. There, like I said, you never know what you're going to find. Let me get back to my notes because I do want to do this in order without jumping around too much. So, kind of talked about what a bin store is, where to bin get the product. Obviously, a lot of bin stores ran Amazon. That was the big thing. Crystal, been way too long since you left this amazing state. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's been a long time. It has been a long time. I don't know about the amazing state part. Liquidation is so interesting. It really is. I could talk about liquidation forever. It's an interesting model, and I actually almost got into that pretty big time before deciding to just commit to the retail and online arbitrage thing. But like I said, maybe we'll talk about that at the end if we get some time. Next up, we got the Atlanta Braves hat here. This one here, I bought these for like $6 from my supplier, sold it for $40, and the tag says 30. This is just a adjustable 920 dad hat, but they've been selling really good for me. That mesh back, the same with the fitteds. The mesh back fitteds are doing really well. I don't know if that's coming back. Maybe it never went anywhere, but that's what it is. Doing pretty good. So the bin stores can get their stuff from Amazon. That's one of the main ones, but becoming even more common, or at least were a year or two ago, were Target liquidation. They were pulling in Target liquidation to put in Walmart liquidation. Some stores tried that. Walmart liquidation is not meant for resale. Again, we can discuss all this in another time, but there was a lot of different avenues. The bin stores near me were pulling in like Kohl's liquidation, which is good for the most part, and a few others, but it just varied on what the prices were for those loads. So you can get liquidation from a lot of main retailers. Not all retailers do that, but a lot of them do. Just depends on where you are purchasing from as far as what's available and kind of what the bin store next to you decided to pull in. Trying to find the next label, guys, and I'm not seeing it. Travis, where did Travis go? Oh, you know what? It's going to be over here. There we go. That makes more sense. So you can get it from a lot of different places, and that's what kind of varies on your liquidation store or bin store that you might have near you. Depends on what they bring in. There are good liquidation and bin stores, and there's bad ones, and it all depends on how they want to run. And when I say good and bad, I mean that's good and bad from a reselling standpoint. The local stores to me, real close to me, just a couple miles down the road, sourced a lot of Amazon, what they called FC loads. FC loads were facilities, fulfillment center, and that was basically your FBA center. So this is where basically any resellers, if you sent in product and sent it into FBA, they're stored in a different warehouse than an Amazon warehouse in their product. At least they were. Again, this is a little bit older information. But the FC, hopefully Goon is taking notes. The FC centers had all that stuff. So all your stuff from China, all that stuff that gets shipped over and sold in FBA. So all your $5 phone cases, your $10, mixers, all that stuff, that's all sent in and stored there. When you bought an FC load, it was all liquidation from that. It was either going to be stuff that was overstocked that a company just didn't want to deal with. So maybe a supplier in China sent over 100 items and only sold 50 and the other 50 weren't selling. They'll liquidate through Amazon, tell Amazon, hey, just get rid of it for us. They'll liquidate that out. You had returns, didn't come from FC centers. So you didn't have to deal with returns on the FC loads, and that's why some bin stores did it, because everything would be new or new damaged box. You didn't get returns as a part of that load. But you would get overstock. You would get stuff that wasn't allowed to be sold on Amazon. That was actually some good stuff. So, for instance, if I sent in, I don't have one, of course, right here with me. No, I don't have a single one left. I don't have one now, but if I sent in a NFL hat and listed it on Amazon as FBM, I sent it in. You're not allowed to sell NFL product without having that authorization from them. They would have kicked it out, and the seller lost the product. So that's, again, FBA. You got to make sure you have you're allowed to sell that item and so on. But if it got sent in and got kicked out, it went to liquidation. You also ended up with damage box stuff. So if someone sent in a case of 24 items and the corner got smashed in, those corner items would get liquidated out through an FC load. So it was a lot of new stuff, but it was a lot of cheap stuff. It was a knockoff, not knockoff, but your private label stuff, all that stuff. You weren't getting name brand very often. And what little bit did come in, most stores that ran that would pick it out and not put it out in their bins. With a small store, they could do that. And like I said, the ones next to me, that's what they started doing. That's not how they started, but the last year or two, that's all they would get in were those FC loads. That's not a good bin store. You can still find stuff. And actually, again, if you follow Adam's videos, I'll put a link to his down below as well on his Flipping from Zero. It's a great series if you want to learn how to get started in reselling. He shows a great way to do that. And he goes to bin stores that sell a lot of that stuff, and he goes in and buys their stuff on $1, $2 a day, stuff like that. There's still profit there, but it is not what I would call a good bin store if you're looking to do this like a full-time, if you're trying to get into being a main source of inventory. I used to source from there, and I couldn't really source anymore from there besides a few odds and ends because they just didn't get that good stuff. Now, the second type of Amazon load is going to be what they call LPN. That is going to be all your returns. So anything that got returned got sent to an LPN place, and that's where they process their returns from you if you sent your item into Amazon. You got your returns, anything damage box that Amazon had. So for instance, they got in a truckload of KitchenAid mixers, and they had some damage box stuff that they weren't allowed to sell. They wouldn't sell as new. If they didn't do their warehouse deals that you'll see on their listing, then they would send it to liquidation. That would go into your LPN loads. You would also get your, oh goodness, what else? Overstock from Amazon. So, again, Amazon had too many of this particular pair of shorts. They don't feel they could sell it. They would liquidate it out through them. But for the majority of it, it was all returns. You would still get that Chinese stuff that got returned, or you would still get that knockoff, whatever, the OtterBox that didn't say OtterBox or whatever. You find all that stuff in those truckloads, but you would also get your returned KitchenAid mixer that was damaged in shipment, or the address wasn't available and Amazon didn't want to process it again. However it was, you could get a lot of good stuff in there, but you had to look through it and make sure it wasn't damaged. So I have a store that's about an hour away from me that only deals with returns. And like I said, you can find a lot of good stuff in there, but it's risky because, it could be a return. It could be a product that was defective, product that doesn't work, whatever it is. Not all returns go there, obviously, but for the most part, I would say about half of returns are legitimate returns, and there's a reason the buyer returned it, whether it was damaged or didn't work or whatever. And Amazon didn't feel like they needed to redo it. Now, that's something that's changed again. Amazon has put a lot more money into refurbishing their product. Refurbishing their product. So you don't find as many Apple MacBooks and stuff like that. Like, you could find that stuff in those bin stores, especially if the bin store didn't sort. A lot of them sort now and pull that stuff out, obviously. But from the beginning of it, you could find iPhones, you could find all that stuff, and you could still find them in those stores. They can't fulfill everything, especially if you have a big bin store. Always go to a big bin store over a small bin store if you're looking to source quantity of product, because a lot of those bigger stores don't have the manpower, and they can't go through everything as good as the other stores do. And so they have to rely on volume to get their money. So you can find a lot of good stuff in there that you may not find in some of your smaller bin stores. We'll talk about small bin stores and why you should still source there, but for the majority of it, if you have a bigger store, that's where you're going to find more profitable product for the most part. Let's get this next order because I am talking like crazy. We've got some New Balance. These are actually an old pair that I've had forever, and I don't remember why. I think they got returned when I was selling them on Amazon. The box is beat to pieces. Very similar. These are blue instead of that gray that we've been selling. These are a men's size 7, so it's a small size, and I think we only sold them for $50. Yeah, we sold them for $50, but I don't know what we paid. I'm guessing we paid less than $20 for them. We normally don't pay more than that, and this, like I said, this was purchased quite a while back, and it just now sold. Probably a listing I should have gotten taken down and put back up, but it did sell. So for $50, and I'm guessing we paid $20 for it on that. Where was I? Big store, small store, bin stores. Yeah. So when dealing with the Amazon FPN loads, you have to deal with, like I said, a lot of damaged product. And that's where you have to keep a lookout for. Overstock is always the best item to find. That's going to be brand new stuff. You can also find some what I would call old stock, as far as if it may not have an expiration date. Some of it does, and it might be out, but there's always going to be some stuff that's going to be close to expiration date, as far as clothes, food, yes. Clothing, no. Coffee, stuff like that I've mentioned before, and I've actually sold some on here before with you guys. Those are some of those items that you could find that would be like 6 months before expiration. Amazon doesn't allow you to sell if it's that close, but you can still sell it on eBay or whatnot, and you can find that type of stuff. That's probably my second one. And then obviously your returns, damaged box stuff. Returns, again, being you have to test it and you have to make sure that it works, because a lot of that stuff might look like it's brand new, and that's just because people like to reseal things and make it to where they get their refund, even not realizing that Amazon doesn't care. They're going to refund you anyways. But that's the type of stuff you can kind of find in a bin store or a market or a liquidation store. Liquidation store is the same thing, except for they'll go through and actually price everything. So you'll have shelves and you'll have stuff on the shelves for that particular price or whatever it would be. We kind of talk about the good versus bad bin stores. So a lot of bin stores, like I said, will sort through their stuff, so you're not going to be able to pull volume from them. You might find those flags and that cheaper inventory that you can pick up on $1 and $2 a day or a 50-cent day. That's the only reason why I recommend that, if they're running those FPN loads, or I'm sorry, the FC loads. That new stuff, the Chinese private label stuff, just doesn't sell well on Amazon. Not saying it can't, or on eBay, excuse me. Not saying that it can't, but a lot of it doesn't, and you have to sort through a lot of stuff. That's what I would consider a bad bin store. You can still profit from any bin store, but there's not going to be near the profit or near the product that you can pull from those stores, versus some of the bigger ones that are going to run those returns and stuff like that. Return loads are a little bit more risky because, again, you do have to look at the product, and it is more time consuming. So you have, it's one thing to source and take all your time to source, but you have to make sure whatever you source is worth listing and worth the time you have to invest into it, not just to list it, but to make sure that the product is what it's supposed to be. So keep that in mind when sourcing from bin stores. You are going to have a little bit more time. It's like buying something used. You almost always have to test whatever it is. If it's clothing, if it's soft goods, if it's something that maybe it doesn't function, but it's, a shelf or anything like that, you have to make sure there's no damage on it, and you're going to spend more time in that, doing that. Now, the good thing with bin stores too is you can most of the time find higher quantities of stuff if it is a new item. Obviously, if it's a return, it's going to be one or two of that particular item. But if you get that overstock load or something like that, you can find a lot of good stuff in it. I thought I had some bin store stuff today. I don't think I do. But for instance, if for some reason this was an overstock hat that they put in the bins, you're probably going to find 20, 30, 50 of these. So it is nice because you can find higher quantities and list that if it's an overstock item. So there's still good stuff that you can find. It just varies on the store, and it's going to vary by your store. You just have to go in and look. The thing with bin stores you have to realize too is you can get better at them, better at sourcing. Just like if you go into a Kohl's clearance event, you'll get better. If you do those more often, you'll get better at recognizing profit in those. You can do that with bin stores, but bin stores get a crazy wide variety of stuff every single time, and you very rarely are going to find the same thing, especially, I should say, a profitable same thing. So you might go in and find these hats this time. You will probably never find this hat in another bin store in another time anywhere. There's a very good chance you're not going to. So you have to have a wider range of knowledge, and you will get that range of knowledge, but you end up looking up stuff a lot more than if you were just focused on your niche area, and you do that all the time. Bin stores, I spent more time comping in bin stores than I did finding stuff in bin stores, because you just have to check things and use your gut, and you'll find stuff that somebody else might have picked up, put back down because they don't know what it is. You might be able to look that up. It's a lot more work in that aspect of it. I would go in and spend 6 hours in a bin store on opening day, in a giant bin store that we have, and I would be exhausted. It was an exhausting day. It was a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it a lot because it's that treasure hunt, but it just gets exhausting because you do have to spend a lot more time, and you're working. It's definitely a long day at work. Even coming from retail, I would say It was an exhausting 6-8 hours versus, some of the other work that you end up doing in reselling. We've got this New York Yankees hat going out, 7.5. We paid 13 for this and sold it for $49.99. Really cool hat. Just a little bit different colorway, kind of that blue and black with the yellow patch. I really like it. And I keep going that way for the boxes. But let's see. Do we need to pull the tag? No, we're good. That's going out to Donald in Virginia. So, like I said, it's a whole thing to source from bin stores, but if you've been in bin stores before, you kind of know that. And obviously, I'm probably talking to a bunch of people that already know what a bin store is, already have sourced from them, and they just want to know different details on it. But it was definitely viable in the past. I think it still is viable now, but it is a little bit more picked over, and you do have to hunt a little bit more. It's not as easy as it used to be. Now, like I said, it's all going to vary on your area. Bin stores are not easy to find. They don't advertise well. Most of them don't, because there's no unique name for them. If you put in bin store, especially in a big city, you're going to get the Container Store. You're going to get bin washing, like trash can washing companies, stuff like that. It's getting more well known, and so the search terms are starting to get to there. But there was a long time where you couldn't find them, and you had to search liquidation or something like that to find those stores. Guaranteed. I mean, obviously it depends on where you live, but most places have a bin store within an hour drive. Whether it's a good one or not, I don't know. But you do have those options pretty regularly available. There are closing all the time. New ones are opening all the time, and they have downsized. Like I said, the liquidation market is not as high as it used to be, so a lot of stores have closed because they couldn't make it work. So you just have to look in your area and see if you can find what you're looking for. Again, we kind of talked about what you can find in the bin store, but you can find anything. I mean, if it's sold online, you're going to find it. I've found everything from computers and electronics to hardware, screws, mounts, stuff like that, clothing, you name it. If it's sold on Amazon, if it's sold anywhere in retailers, you're going to find that in liquidation. Let's see. I've been sourcing bin stores a few times a week lately because my retail arbitrage stores are a bit dry right now. I've been sourcing big time in medical textbooks. Yes, yeah, books. That's another one. Yeah, bin stores. I don't want to sound critical of bin stores. A lot of the stuff I'm going to say is kind of the bad. Bin stores are a great opportunity, and they are still a viable opportunity. They're just changing, just like we do. And I highly recommend it. That's why when I go to bin stores, if I'm not finding anything retail or online, then I'll start sourcing from a bin store again. I still enjoy it. I still go probably every month or two. I'll go in and hit a bin store on opening day just for the fun of it. And I'll look for stuff for me personally. I mean, I don't necessarily source from them as much now as I used to, but they're fun. It's a lot of fun, and you can find a lot of good stuff in there. It gives you a lot of high inventory, and it's like sourcing at a thrift store or a resale shop or a garage sale. The inventory investment price is so low. Most stores aren't $8 or $9. On their opening day, you can go on other days and still find profit. You don't have to go just on the opening day. You can go on $1 day. You can go on $2, $3 day. You're going to find a lot of inventory that you're only paying a couple bucks for versus like these shoes that we're getting ready to list. I only paid 17 for these, but most of the time I'm paying $20, $25. Like an average buy price now for me is probably 20 bucks on an item for me to resell. So, and I am only selling it for $50. These were we paid 15, 16. I think I just said 17, $17 for these. And we sold them for 50. I paid, say $20 and I'm selling it for 50. I can go to a bin store and buy something for $6-8 and sell it for 52, depending on the item. And have a lot less investment. So that it's a great opportunity. And I don't want to shy anyone away from it. I still enjoy it. It's just, you have to notice and you have to account for the fact that there is more time and more, how do you put it? More effort into that product. These particular ones, I don't really have to go through and look and make sure there's not a cut in them or something like that. I just know if I bought them from, Kohl's or whatever. Not a great example because you can find returned shoes at Kohl's even on their store shelves. But for the most part, again, buying this hat, I know it's brand new. It's still sealed. I don't have to look at it. I can buy it, list it, and that's all. I don't have to spend extra time looking at it, opening it up, looking for damage or anything like that. with bin stores, you do have to do that. So you have to take into account that effort too. And that's what a lot of people forget. And that's why I don't want to discourage anybody from doing bin stores, but just be ready to have to put in some more effort into the actual sourcing and the actual testing and listing and all of that, because again, you're dealing with return used stuff for the most part. You can find new, but for the most part, it is going to be that return stuff. These are those Nike shoes. You guys have seen me sell these before. This is from the most, well, not the most recent now, but the previous clearance event a month or two ago. These are a 6 youth, and I just grabbed them. I didn't pay attention when I was grabbing them, but they actually sold for $50. So, and they sold fairly quick for youth size. Again, it's a good colorway. It's a basic Nike. You can't really go wrong. But I just grabbed them. I opened the box on the clearance rack and seen they were the same ones I was buying. Grabbed them, and without actually looking to see if they were worth the same price as what the others are. Like, because I'm getting 55 to 60 out of those. Still got 50 out of those, so I'm not going to complain at all. But they are a kid's 6. Going out to Kristen in Illinois. Oh, my labels are so much easier doing it this way. So much easier. But yeah, so like I said, bin stores are great. You just have to consider that extra time. What kind of items? I think we covered, like I said, we mentioned the books. You can find textbooks, medical books, stuff like that in there. You can, that are worth hundreds of dollars, honestly. Like, I've sold some books for 150, 200 bucks before, and they've been damaged, but their textbooks or what do they call them? Research books, stuff like that, that you can find that are worth it. You can find just about anything. We're going to talk about a couple of the deals that I've gotten from bin stores here in just a second. Just random stuff that I've made a lot of money off of. I have some numbers for you guys that I did pull from the first year of business. I basically just pulled sales numbers to kind of give you guys an idea. Like I said, the first year, the last month or two, I started getting into online and retail arbitrage, but that was, I started buying them in the tail end of the numbers I'm going to give you. So really the sales, I don't think I was getting hardly any sales from that. Pretty much all the sales were coming from bin stores. I didn't have a whole lot of other avenues of income at the time, or avenues of sourcing, because bin stores were so good for me. And so we'll share those numbers here in just a minute. But like I said, this was 4 months of part-time and 8 months, about 8 months or so of full-time selling. On eBay, we did 108,000, and on Amazon, we did 100. On Amazon, we did 40,000, for roughly 150,000 in the first year of sales. That's gross sales, obviously. Those numbers, like I said, were all bin store purchases. I think my profit margins were like 60% of my selling price. So basically, if I did 150,000, 60% of that was what I would consider profit. That was basically just taking out shipping fees and cost of goods. There's obviously operations and packing supplies, all that stuff that didn't come out of that. But that was basically what my margins were. So they were really good margins. I was putting in a lot of work, and that's where I think a lot of people get the idea. So 60% of 150,000 is, let's see, it'd be 60, 90,000. So like my net, without taking all my other expenses, was 90,000 that year. That's why I was able to go full time so quickly, because of that net. Now, like I said, that did not account for all the money that I put into inventory that hadn't sold yet. So honestly, I don't remember what my taxes were that year. I would say I probably made 60,000 after inventory that I invested in, supplies, cost of everything, storage, all that stuff. I probably netted 60,000 that year just from purchasing and selling from bin stores, and that was part-time for a good portion of that, for at least over a quarter of that. Is it viable as a source? Yeah, obviously, yes. Now, that was during that time where you could get some really good inventory during that. And I don't know how that plays into now. I don't want anybody to get the idea that you can just do this. This was in 2022, 2023. So that was over a year ago. Obviously, actually 2 years ago, basically, is where we were at with that. But that's what I was doing. Now, like I said, I was putting in so much work. I'm looking at my list over here. I apologize, I'm not just looking off camera. But I believe if I think I wrote it out here. Yeah, so during my part-time, I was sourcing one day on the weekend. So I was either mostly Saturday. Every now and then, if I got off on Friday or whatever, I would source that. But I was working a 60-hour work week job during regular hours, about 80 hours during the fourth quarter. At my full-time job, I sourced one weekend day for most of that, and then I would source on my lunch breaks. I actually got an hour lunch break. I would literally drive to my local bin store, spend like 30 minutes in there, drive back, grab something to eat on the way, drive through, and go back to work. So I was sourcing every single day on my lunch breaks, and then if I found stuff crazy on my lunch breaks, I would actually go back after I got off work if they were still open, hit it again for an hour or so until they closed, and then head home. So we did a lot of it was a lot of work, and I sourced a lot during that time because I was working full time. So I put in a lot of effort. Then when I went full time, I actually sourced at least one day, if not 2 days a week, and that would have been like Friday and Saturdays. I was most generally at the bin stores for their opening days. I listed the other 4 days straight, and then I would go in on like dollar day and kind of clean up on the rest of that. I was doing about 12 hours a week during that time frame as well. I'm sorry, 12 hours a day, probably 10, at least 10 hours a day, but probably closer to 12 hours a day is what I was spending on that with sourcing, shipping, listing, all that stuff. I was really grinding during that period because that's obviously when I went full time, and I wanted to make sure I was going to have enough money to survive the transition. So we did grind a lot for that money, and we put in a lot of time. I'm not saying it's going to take that much time, but you have to look at how much it takes to extra listing. Like I said, a bin store listing takes me probably double, if not triple, the amount of time as a in-store purchase or something like that from a retailer, just because I have to make sure that it's new. Otherwise, you're going to get it returned, and then you're going to be out money anyways. So it's a lot more investment of time, I feel like, than doing what we do now with the retail stuff. But it's definitely a viable option, and you have such a low buy cost that it is super helpful in that area. So that's something I think I kind of recommend. A couple of people were asking what my profit margins and stuff look like for that. That's what we're looking at. Now, the other thing I want to mention with this, guys, is bin stores are a great opportunity to work into those bulk buys that I've talked about in the past. Bulk buys is something I absolutely love. This is when, obviously, depending on where you're sourcing from, you can buy, hats like I've been doing recently, or any other areas of sourcing or whatever product. You can work your way into bulk buys. Bin stores are a great opportunity for that, and we'll get into that in just a second. This next item that we sold is a blue, just a plain blank blue 5950. I'm sorry, 950 snapback hat, and this is actually a youth size. I got this from my supplier. These were missing the buttons on the top, so they don't have a button on the top of the hat, like obviously any of these other ones do. So we got these for $2.50. We listed it, and we made sure to mention that it was defective, and we actually sold this one for 15 bucks. So not a crazy profit there, but for a youth size and for it missing that, is awesome to be able to get that quick sale. And it sold rather quickly. We only had this listed for a week or so, I probably listed it a little too low, but with it being defective, I wasn't sure. But we will take it, and we've actually got a couple more of those in adult sizes, and we'll see how long those take to sell. What do we got next? Let me move through a couple items here before we jump into the bulk buys and stuff like that, and I'm going to talk about a couple of them that I've done in the past. Next up on the shipping list, because I've got a lot to do, and we don't want to get behind too much here. These are the chubbies that we purchased from the Academy Sports sale for $10 a piece. So the clearance sale we did a live on that. If you haven't watched that, check it out. It's pretty good. I think it's called something about can you source on the last day of a sale or something like that. But yeah, we picked these up for 10 bucks. I know Chubbies are a great brand. They're brand new. And we sold these for $50. These are not just the swim trunks. These are actually like the lined, compression lined trunks. They have like this fancy pattern on them. But those are going out for, like I said, $50. So 10 and 50 on these is awesome. These are going to just pick up here throughout the summertime. The more we get into summer, the more these will sell. These are a super popular brand. Going to Megan in Port St. Joe, Florida. Down there by you, Recon, I think. All right. So bulk deals, guys. So one of the things about bin stores is most of them are locally owned. So you're going to have the owner in the store. They're not corporations or anything like that. There is a line called Black Friday sale or Black Friday deals. That is a very large bin store chain. They don't necessarily advertise themselves as a chain, but they own. Last I knew, they owned over 50 stores, and they're all throughout the area. I've actually got 3 of them here in the area that where I'm at. And these are the guys. These are like the Walmart of bin stores. These are literally they're buying just I would say their store probably goes through 8 truckloads a week, if not 10. 8 to 10 truckloads a week is what they're putting through their stores. Most small bin stores are doing like half a truckload to a truckload. These guys are doing 8 to 10, and they literally have a warehouse full. They're selling out of their warehouse now, full pallets of it. It's crazy how big they are. But I believe they almost, if they don't have a direct contract with Amazon, they've got a pretty good line into it, and they're being able to get premium products. This is great stuff. This is straight from Amazon stuff. It's not been picked over by a supplier or anything like that. And they are dumping it. They're dumping it in the bins. They sell the electronics that come out of it a little bit different. They don't dump it in the bins, but you can still go in and buy them for $8 if you get in line and stuff like that. And they'll let you buy like 1 per day or something like that. They're huge companies, and they have these big stores. Those are still worth going to every day of the week. I find stuff in there all the time. They do Amazon, they do Target, they do mostly Amazon, a little bit of Target. They've been getting Academy, they get Ace Hardware, they get a lot of different variety, and it's a great opportunity for sourcing. If you have one of those stores, I highly recommend it. You're not going to be able to get as many bulk deals and stuff. Although this store here locally, I've gone in and say they had 10 or 20. Normally have to buy more, but I've gone in and they've had what's it called? I can't even think. Wow. My memory. Hair curlers. They had these old vintage like Sunbeam brand hair curlers and stuff like that. They had hundreds of them, if not thousands of them, that they had gotten from an old warehouse somewhere, and they were putting them out. I loaded my cart with them, and the owner actually came out, or the manager for that particular store came out and was like, "Hey, do you want more?" And I told him, "Yeah, I'll take more if you can get me a better deal." And we worked a better deal for buying a bunch of those. You can still do that in some of the big store with bulk stuff, but for the most part, they're not going to work with you. A lot of your smaller bin stores are going to be local, and that's why I say even if it's an FC or like a store that runs FC, the brand new stuff in box that's all off brand or whatever, I still recommend sourcing them, going in there, talking with their employees, getting to know them, because it can lead into bigger opportunities. For me personally, that's what happened, and I walked into some big numbers. And before I get too far into this, I want to state those numbers that I have are going to reflect these bigger deals, and I should have said that before. So hopefully you're still watching. Those numbers that I gave you for the year included some of these big deals, and they were big deals. I'm actually, the ones I've got listed out were a total of over $30,000 in sales. So keep that in mind with bin stores. But smaller bin stores, like I said, you can get in with them, talk to their employees, get to know them, go in as often as you can, even if you're not sourcing a ton from them. Go in and talk to them and get to know them. It helps a lot. You can get in with the owners to where they will let you buy stuff cheaper. Like I said, I went in a few times and got the Gas X, all that Gas X that we sold the past few videos. There was 50 to 100 of them in the bins. I asked the seller, "Hey man, can you give me a better deal if I take them all?" Because they weren't selling. You can get deals like that, and you can work with a lot of smaller deals to get started, and they'll work with you. And the more you help them out by buying stuff from them that they have a bunch of, or things that they're just not selling locally, the more apt you are to getting into some of these bigger deals. And that's what we're going to talk about now. So some of the bigger deals that I've gone into, one of the craziest ones was a Quest chips deal. I didn't know what Quest chips were up until this point. If you're familiar with Quest Nutrition, they do a lot of protein, workout type stuff, as well as, just healthy eating and so on. These were a protein chip that they were literally getting pallets of. I went in and they had a full pallet of these chips in their store, and they had for weeks. They would put a new pallet out, they'd sell through it eventually, and then they put a new pallet out. I finally decided to check and see if they were worth reselling, and I kicked myself so bad because I'd seen these for like at least a month to 2 months in that store, and they were selling on eBay and Amazon for over $20 a box. I decided to do a test buy and actually picked up, I think like 30 boxes of them and listed them and sold them all over the weekend. Like I bought those on like a Friday or a Saturday, and by Monday I was completely sold out, and we're selling them for $25 to $27 a box. These were like a box of like 8 bags or 12 bags or something like that. They were small bags, but they were in the case packs, and I was selling the whole box for, like I said, $25 to $27. I was spending $1 a box on these chips at that point when I was buying them. So $1 into 27 is a huge thing. And like I said, I sold 20 of them literally over a weekend, which is crazy. I just showed these shoes. These are a women's size of those black shoes as well. We did sell these for 50 as well. Again, I grabbed them not realizing they were women's. I would have still grabbed them, but I may not have paid the same price. I think those were like $20. So 20 into 50. It's not too bad. Back into the chips though, like I said, I bought those boxes and then ended up selling them so fast. I went back and I asked the owner. I had been going to that store for a few months by then. I asked him, walked in and said, "Hey man, that's like, I'm interested in buying the rest of this pallet. Can you get me a better price?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I can get you a better price." He's like, "How many do you want?" And I said, "Well," I said, "I'll take all of them that you have." He's like, "I've got," I think he said at that point, 6 pallets. I was like, I can't take that many, but let me take what you've got in this pallet. Let me go through this week and see how they sell, and I'll let you know. And he's like, "That's fine." He said, "But if you want more," he's like, "let me know." He's like, "I need to get rid of these. They're taking up space." Again, liquidation. They had too much space. They had all these pallets of chips that they were only moving, 20 boxes a day out of their store. And they had a pallet. A pallet had 150, I think, boxes, 144, something like that, of the chips or 144 boxes of these chips on each pallet, and he had these 6 pallets in the back, so they're taking up space. I went home and sold that whole pallet in less than a week. So I'm actually had the owner's number. He gave me his number at that point. I texted and said, "Hey, I will take the rest, but I can't get them out. I didn't have room. My garage, I had like room for like 2 pallets worth in there." I literally, I don't have my phone on me. Oh, it's the camera. Unfortunately, I would show you pictures. I had my entire kitchen stacked with these boxes of chips and filled the house. It was a mess. I had, like I said, a pallet of them in the garage, and I was trying to clear out space and everything. Ended up, long story short, with that deal, I ended up with 9 pallets total of those that I bought from him. He stored them for a couple weeks for me. I would come and grab a pallet or 2 when I needed them. I paid him up front for them. That deal was something that helped him out. It got him out of his store, and I made a killing on. The numbers on those, just rough numbers. These are not exact because I didn't go through everything, but we were making $8 to $10 per box. So we were paying $12 to ship them. Paid, I think in the end, I had 50 cents a box in them once I bought all of his. We were selling them for 27, 28 bucks. And like I said, we were making about $10 per box on each of those boxes after shipping fees and all that. 9 pallets of them, 144 boxes, about 1,300 boxes. We made $13,000 in profit just on those in a time period of, I think, 2 months. I think that's all it took to sell them. That was one of those deals that come out of just searching or shopping at a bin store. That's the type of thing that you can actually work into. I'm not going to say it's going to happen that big every time, but you can work into those deals. If it's something that they've got a ton of that they can't get rid of, and you're willing to buy it and help them get rid of that, they're going to be willing to work with you on those deals. So that's something with bulk buys and just in general to keep in mind when you're shopping from sources or wherever you're at. It can lead into other things. I always treat the employees nice. I always talk to everybody. I'm not afraid of telling them what I do. Some people don't like doing that. I will tell almost every store unless I have an idea that they may not like it, particularly, then I won't necessarily say it. But if I get to talking with them and they're anywhere engaged in what I'm doing, then I'll tell them exactly what I do. That way they know they have an option to get rid of products that they can't use. And it works out for both of us. So that worked out into a really good deal for those Quest chips. And that was the first one. That was the first big deal that I got from him, and it led into others. This is a pair of those white New Balance. These are the gray ones that we bought a couple couple clearance events ago. Let's see, what did we pay for these? These ones I actually got super cheap. These ones were only 15 bucks, and we sold them for $69.99. So full retail on these, and we paid $15. These are a size 13, I think, wide. Or no, sorry, size 9 wide. Wait, let me make sure I got the right shoes. Yes, okay, size 9 wide. Gotta make sure I don't ship out the wrong item. Going out to Dennis in New Jersey. Or Denise. That might be Denise. Named them wrong. Don't let me forget to take this thing off. I don't know how we got all these shoes in one line here, but it seems like all these shoes are shipping out at the same time. But yeah, so that, like I said, I got to where I talked to him a lot. The guy was super cool. He would always come up and offer different deals, and honestly, some of the deals that he offered weren't worth it. And you do have to be willing to be like, hey, I can't make the money on it, so I can't help you out with that one. Well, let me know if you got the next deal. And that's what happened with me. I've got a couple of offers from him, for some stuff that I just wasn't worth reselling. But I would go in every week. If they got coffee in, I would check the coffee, the Starbucks K-Cups, the Nespresso stuff. I would always offer to buy them out of that stuff because I knew I could sell it on there. I may not make a crazy amount of profit, but at the time I was making, double what I was doubling my money at least, which now is a good thing. So I bought as much as I could just to help him out, to support his store and help as much as I can. Gives you a good name, and then they lead you into other opportunities. The next deal I got from them, actually, this is not true. This is the next bulk deal that I got from them was Amazon branded Tylenol, believe it or not. It was not expired. It was about a year out, and Amazon liquidated it. These guys literally had a pallet stacked this high, full gaylord of it, just this off-brand Tylenol. They were selling for 50 cents a box. I ended up, I don't remember how many hundreds of bottles of that I bought and sold on eBay. I was selling 3, 4, 5 a day on there. I was only making like $2 a bottle. But again, buying it for 50 cents, making $2, I'll do that all day long, especially since I don't have to keep listing it. And we ended up making, I think, if I remember correctly, we made like over $700 profit just on Tylenol from those deals. So cannot complain there. The last deal that I got from him was actually a big protein powder buy, and it was 2 pallets of the On Nutrition protein powder, the big 6-pound and 5-pound jugs of it. And we paid, I think, $6 for those, and we're selling them for 50 to 60. Sold all of it within I think we sold it all within 2 months, 3 months, and ended up, I think, making like over $5,000 profit just on that bulk deal. Again, these are all deals that wasn't offered to anybody else. That wasn't even put in their store. They would sell a few in their store every day, but he had so much of it, he was willing to get rid of a couple pallets of it. I was there to buy it, and he knew he could come to me to get rid of that. And that worked out. And that's how you get into some of those bulk deals. I had a couple of those deals with different stores in my area, and they were all bin stores. So bin stores, you can look at them as that. You can also look at liquidation stores the same way. They've got a lot of opportunity to buy from them because they have pennies on the dollar in their stuff, but a lot of their inventory requires them to get rid of it quick, flip it quick, get it out so they can get new inventory in for their buyers. So great opportunities there. Now, the one thing, you don't have to necessarily have an inroad to get a good deal to flip. One of my biggest flips from the bin store was actually something I purchased straight from their bins, paid full price because I knew I was going to make it. That was Rogaine hair supplement. Rogaine hair dye, or not dye, but the bottles of it that you can use for hair regrowth or whatever you want to call it. We found a ton of it. It was an overstock item that was in the bin store that the bin store literally ended up with. I think I bought 150 of them from the bins, and we were paying $8 a piece, selling them for $60. And I had a bulk buyer for some reason in Florida that would literally buy me out. I would list him. He would send an offer of like $2 less on the box if he bought all of them, and he bought all of them. I sold them within 24 hours every time I bought them. Ended up making $4,000 off of Rogaine alone, and that was just buying it out of the bins. No one else was looking at it that hard because they didn't really know what it was, and I happen to know exactly what it was and what it was worth from comping it. And I always comp. Every time I go into a bin store, if I see a lot of an item, especially if it has a name brand on it, I'm comping that to make sure that it is worth picking up, but most of the time it is. Guys, if you ever end up with shoes with the tag left on, like these ones here, especially the wire ones, you just need some wire cutters. Snip that wire. Oh, maybe. There we go. And you can cut it right off. Unfortunately, they miss them every now and then, and the sensor evidently didn't go off, or if it did, they thought it was the card. I did not steal them, I promise. I paid full price. No, I didn't pay full price. We got these for 15 bucks. These are the Adidas Dailies 3.0s, and we sold them for $55. So not a bad come up there. Like I said, 15 into 55, and these are a size 11. So not bad there. But yeah, bin stores, like I said, lots of opportunity in bin stores. You can make a lot of money off of those, and it's well worth it if you need an avenue. Honestly, if you're getting into reselling, I think they're probably one of the best places to start. I highly recommend them. They are great. It must be eclipse time. Everybody bailed on me. That's all right, though. If you're rewatching this, thank you guys for watching this after the live. If you want to be notified of the live coming up, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. We do these once a week, or at least we try to do them at least once a week. So definitely, if you want to see these in the future, I would highly appreciate it if you hit that subscribe and the notification bell. That'll let you know. I try to get these up at least 12 to 24 hours before they start. That way you guys can kind of get a heads up. But for the most part, they will be on Monday mornings. That way we have some stuff to ship and some stuff to talk about from the previous week. That is the goal of these videos. So I appreciate that. Also, check us out on Instagram, IG, whatever you want to call it. I have a link in the description. Same handle as everywhere else. Delco Resells, all one word. And we post over there. Try to post at least once or twice a week, if not every day or so, to give you guys updates on what's going on, where we're at as far as upcoming projects, what we might be doing that day, just giving you behind the scenes look at what happens on a full-time reseller from the day to day. This is not going to be something exciting every day, but just to show you guys kind of the behind the scenes and all of that stuff too. I'm bailing now too. Thanks, Crystal. That's all good. I know it's eclipse time. I did not think of that when I scheduled this, and unfortunately where I am, we're not even going to be able to see it. It's cloudy as all get out, and it'll get dark, I guess, but it's super cloudy, and we're not even supposed to get that much coverage, so I'm not worried about it. We're going to keep right on rocking here and get these orders out. But thank you guys. I do appreciate it, and I understand everybody bailing out. Don't blame you one bit. Like I said, if I could see it, I would actually be interested to take a look, but not going to be the case for me, so we're going to keep on trucking here. Next up, we've got the, the LA 5950, again, bulk hat deal. This one sold for $40, and I think we paid $13 for it. Not a crazy amount. We were getting a little bit more. And honestly, I should bump them up. They're doing really good, so I might need to bump up the prices on the LA and the Yankees. Or no, the Yankees are doing good. No. I don't know if Dodgers are or not, but normally Dodgers stuff sell pretty well. And I expected these to sell a little bit quicker because they are, especially the smaller sizes. This is an international order going out to Todd. I don't know where Todd is, but he's the one that purchased this one. So like I said, guys, I don't want to keep repeating myself on the bin store idea. But I really recommend them. I don't do them as much now just because I don't have a problem finding inventory. I find too much inventory. I find too much inventory that I don't need to invest more in. And like I said, the inventory that I'm finding currently, what you're seeing me list and stuff, is giving me that opportunity. I have these bulk buys and these bulk deals to get some other product that I don't have to go hunt for. So that helps too. So that kind of takes the place of what I would use my time for at a bin store. I don't have to spend as much there. And again, it does take a little bit more time, and it's a little bit harder to list those items. So that's why I'm sticking to what it is. But I think it's a viable solution. If you have a decent bin store next to you, it is definitely worth it. If you guys have any more questions on bin stores or anything in general, feel free to let us know in the comment box below. And ask questions, leave your comments. If you've got an idea or anything like that, let me know. I want to get that engagement from you guys. That way we can hopefully give you guys some content that you're interested in. I appreciate I can't think of your name right off, that the gentleman or person in the last video that requested this video, but thank you for the idea. That's awesome. That helps me out a lot to give you guys some content that you want, and then also, like I said, give you get some answers for you if you have those, or a topic that you are thinking about at the time. Speaking of bin store randomness, so I like to buy a lot of random stuff at bin stores that you never know. That's where I made all my money in bin stores. Is I looked up stuff that wasn't necessarily going to be Apple. It wasn't going to be, you know, something that I knew was going to be worth. I always looked up random stuff that I thought might be worth something, and I found a lot of good deals. This is one of them that wasn't necessarily a great buy, but it's something that I decided on dollar day or 50-cent day to buy. This is a Frigidaire commercial badge, I guess you'd call it. It's metal and it's adhesive on the back. So basically you put this like on a commercial fridge or anything like that that Frigidaire makes. For, like I said, I think we paid 50 cents for this. I picked it up. I didn't even comp it. I just thought, okay, for 50 cents, that's probably going to be worth a few bucks. It wasn't worth as much as I hoped for, but we got $15 for it. It took forever to sell, so don't recommend picking these up, but we did get $15 for it. So overall, not bad. Like I said, this is stuff that you can find all the time. I found a lot of refrigerator parts, car parts. I'm trying to think of some of the random stuff that I found that ended up being worth. I can't think of it right off the top of my head. Maybe I'll think of it here in a minute. But you just never know what you're going to find that could be worth a lot of money. That isn't going to be, you know, isn't going to be designer, isn't going to be name brand, as in, you know, electronics or tools or whatever. It can be all kinds of random stuff that's still worth a lot of money. And you just never know until you comp it and check it out. I don't know if people are going to complain about this. I've been using I ordered too many of the padded flat rates. I ended up with like 6 boxes. I don't remember if I misunderstood or if I think I was using them at the time, and then they jumped flat rate pricing up. So I have a ton of those envelopes. I'm using them for packing and small stuff like this. It's still priority mail. I'm still paying for it. The post office here will not take them back, and I'm good friends with the supervisor. He told me just do whatever with them. Obviously, you don't want to ship stuff in them if it's not going priority mail, but he's like, we won't take them back, and we're just going to, you know, if you're not going to use them, throw them away is what he said. So I'm going to use them for at least use them for something and not completely waste them. But like I said, I do use them for packing with small stuff when I put it in here. Hopefully nobody has a problem with that. I have to say, you guys have been awesome. I haven't had any hate or aggravating comments or anything like that, and I do appreciate that. You guys are awesome for keeping it positive over here, and that's what we want to do. We aren't going to try to... I don't want to share all the negative, even though I have lots of negative to share. I don't want to do that for you guys, and I appreciate you guys keeping it clean and keeping it human in the comments as you guys have in the past. So thank you for that. Next up, we got going out another bulk hat buy. Hat. We got these for $6, and we are selling them for $25. This is a 47 brand adjustable San Francisco Giants hat, going out to William in San Francisco. How about that? Probably a good place for it to go. All right. Almost out of these. These are selling pretty well at 25. I would like to sell these at 30, but I list them at 25 because obviously that's where they comped at then, and I just haven't adjusted them. I don't feel like it's necessary to adjust them too much once I get them listed with that. 25 is still a decent deal. I think they're only like $28 retail, and they're still available. So can't complain. Cannot complain there. We're making our money on them, and like I said, I'm not tanking it, so shouldn't be an issue there. What do we have next? Next up, we have a Crocs, Luke Combs branded Crocs. I can't give my source out on these, but this gives me a good segue into bread and butter and what I want to talk about with bread and butter today. I actually want to talk a little bit more about it. If you have not heard me mention it before, it's a Discord group that shares online leads, sourcing opportunities. We've actually got some wholesale deals that we get in there that we sell to the group. And we give out lots of call outs for online deals such as these. I can't give that list out or where I bought them from, but these were a call out. We're not calls. These were a call out from that deal. And I believe we paid I'm going to look it up real quick. Yeah, $22 for these ones here. These again are those Luke Combs. Let's take them out and show them to you guys. Luke Combs featured Crocs called Bootleggers. Basically a Realtree camo. They got a whole bunch of what do they call these things? I don't remember. Gibbets. I don't think that's the right term, but they got all these on here. Fishhook, bobber, Luke Combs' name on all of them. Really cool Crocs if you like Crocs. But we did sell these for $55, so 22 into 55. Again, that is a bread and butter call out. That is, it may still be active, so I don't want to give it out on where we picked those up from, but it's a good deal. And that leads me into, like I said, bread and butter. If you're interested in bread and butter, like I said, it is a Discord group that you can join in. It's $40 a month, but we give out lots of online leads and not just online, but in-store also. Just different leads on a lot of different products. If there's a hot product coming out that we know of, or we've got something else, for instance, like these that, might be on clearance, anything like that, we're going to call them out. There's call outs every single day, guys, over there. And it's a lot of good stuff. A lot of opportunity over there. And it's just all of us doing it together. I am affiliated with them, and they do help me out. So if you are interested in the group, I think I got too small of a package here. I did. All right, let's try again. If you're interested in the group, though, please let me know. There is a sign-up link down below, and if you go through that sign-up link, it is affiliate link with me, and they do help me out. But if you have questions on it, don't hesitate. I would much rather you comment or leave a comment or personally just private message me either here or on Instagram. If you do that, that way I can answer some questions. Make sure that $40 a month is going to be worth it for you. Like I said, it's a little bit spendy, but so far I've made up more than enough to cover that fee every single month on just the calls that I purchased from that group. It's been huge. It's been helpful for my business, especially if you're reselling some of the stuff that I am. That's kind of our main focus. There are other call outs in that group, but they are kind of more to that retail and online arbitrage theming. So if it's something you're interested in, like I said, please let me know. And I would love to answer some questions for you before you sign up, just to make sure it is something that's going to be viable for you. But it has been a huge help for me, and I am super excited to be able to help with them, and the fact that they are helping out with that affiliate link down below. So shout out to Adam and Hayden over there for that as well. But like I said, feel free to let me know if you have any comments or questions in regards to that, or shoot me a message directly and I'll answer questions for that if you are interested in bread and butter. But we have some call outs from today that I'll be talking about, and these are just perfect examples. Crocs have been a huge one over there for us, and like I said, this is one of those leads, 22 into 55, and this is an active lead, like I said, so this is probably something I can go back and order more if I need to, which isn't always the case. Normally we buy out the stock pretty good, but like I said, you never know exactly what we're going to have over there, and it's super helpful. I've got a couple more in here, and I'll try to post those out as well. That way you guys can hopefully get an idea on what we're about and whether or not it's feasible and worth the investment to you. All right, next up, we are going to try to move through some orders. I don't think we have any more questions in regards to bins, and if I think of anything, I know I was going to talk about some of this stuff, and I don't remember what. Oh, we're going to talk about some of the liquidation stuff, but we can get into that maybe here in a minute. Let's keep moving right along with these orders. Next up is a bread and butter lead. How about that? Perfect timing. These are not active anymore, so I'm not going to necessarily say where I got them, even though because we can still get these. But these are American Eagle individual boxers. We picked these up, I think. I don't have it listed. I think these are like $3. I'm going to look it up just so I can make sure I got the right number for you guys. We had these, $2 a piece. We actually paid a little less than that. I bought hundreds of these, and they are moving slowly. I'm getting about $15 a pair for these, which is actually the retail is $16, so they're not really saving any money, but they start selling really well come summertime. And like I said, we sold 3 pairs to the same buyer, extra larges, and they are actually going out of the country, which is crazy too. United States flag boxers going to another country. I don't know where. It doesn't say. It's through our global shipping partner, or through the global shipping program through eBay. But we sold 3 of those, $45. So 6 into 45 is not bad at all. and they're going to be a cheap 1 pound ship. So that's nice. Also, going out to Glendale Heights, of course, through the eBay global shipping program. That's the third one, I think, today for the global shipping. So that's been a nice increase. What's nice about the global shipping program too is once you ship this, once this hits Glendale, you don't have to worry about it anymore. Even if the buyer wants to return it, bought the wrong size, whatever, you don't deal with it. eBay handles all your they handle all the customer service past the point of sale. So basically, oops, I didn't scan that one. My bad. If there's any issue once it gets to their sorting facility or whatever, they handle it and you don't have to worry about it. So it's like a guaranteed sale as long as you can get it to the sorting center. So super nice. And like I said, we've had 3 of those today. So I haven't had too many of those recently. They've been kind of hit or miss. But one thing nice I like about eBay. Surprise, surprise, we have been cross-listing, have about 300 listings over on Mercari. And like I said, surprise, surprise, none of them have sold. We had no sales. I did mess up the 2 orders I mentioned, I think, last week. I did mess up on those 2 orders. I shipped the wrong item to the wrong buyer, and then I had to ship, obviously, the correct item. I ended up refunding the one that I shipped the item to the other person. And then what I did is I went ahead, obviously, I still had to ship the correct item to the correct buyer, the second person. And I went ahead and just stuck the label. I had already bought the label and everything for it. So I went ahead and stuck that label in the second package and messaged the buyer and asked them if they would do me the favor of just shipping that item to the correct buyer. He already got his refund. It was a little car part switch that I've had for literally 2 years from the bins that just wasn't selling. But I wanted to make sure he got it because I felt really bad about it. I knew it was a hard part to find and the fact that I had it. So I shipped that label in with the other buyer stuff and asked them, just sent them a message, hey, your item's coming. It's going to be a day late. The correct item. Would you do me a favor and just slap this label on? And they actually did it, which is super awesome. There are still good buyers out there, and thankfully this was one of them. They shipped those out, and he actually got the correct item. So that was super cool. Like I said, I didn't make any money on those 2 sales, but I think I broke even still. And there were 2 items that I'd had forever. So I got it out of the place. I was able to make a couple customers happy. But that's all my Mercari. I've had no other sales on Mercari, which is kind of what I expected. I didn't expect them sales to go crazy. Again, I only have about 300 listings over there. It's all stuff that I just have one of. They're not my multi-quantity listings because you can't put those on on Mercari. I mean, I didn't expect much more. I was hoping, but it didn't work. The only thing that I'm curious on, and I actually am just now noticing, it did not pull my Funko Pops, which is the one thing I did want to get cross-listed over there. So maybe I'll look into that, try to get those cross-listed. Maybe that'll be worth it, but is what it is. Mercari, the big selling platform. Some people are doing great over there. I'm not, like I said. So we'll see how it goes. Not giving up on it, but I just wondered if that was going to be the case. There's going to be a lot of excitement over it for like a week, and then it was going to die down. And I think that's what happened. We've got this Detroit, goodness, Tigers. There we go. Detroit Tigers visor. We picked these up from my supplier, $250 on these. This is a crazy good deal on these. 47 brands, so they are branded. And we are selling those for $35. Retail on these is $27.99, but we are selling them for $35. And that's just another hat sale over on Amazon. That has been super nice. We sold 2 of those, I think, this past weekend. So super good. Super good deal there. Can't give that source out. Sorry, guys. I try to give out as many of them as I can, but that is a personal source, and I don't want anybody getting that one because it is helping me out a lot. So one day I will give it out because it probably won't always be a source for me, but we'll see. All right, next up we have the Under Armour. So this is from the most recent Kohl's clearance event. This was also an online call out, and we call these out in the Bread and Butter Discord group as well. I hope I bought enough. I think I bought several, but I'm hoping I bought enough. Some didn't have a tag. That's interesting. But anyways, this one here, we picked it up for $8, $9 in the most recent Kohl's clearance event. Already sold for $29.99. Oops. Hit the wrong button here. Oh, shoot. Is this it? No, this is not it. That's crazy. Okay. Sorry guys, I just lost all my tabs. That is crazy. I don't know what just happened. Okay. But yeah, we sold this one for $29.99. Like I said, we paid $8 for it. It's going out to John in McCordsville. I know exactly where that is. Crystal, she's not in here now. She would know exactly where that is too. McCordsville, Indiana. Like I said, $9 into $29, and we sold it literally within, I think, 2 hours of listing. We actually ended up buying a bunch of these, and I'm hoping I got more of this particular color because I didn't expect. Can't remember if that was the color that we bought online or not. When you buy online leads, you can always end up with a lot more. A lot of times there's more quantity there. So this one I actually bought in store. I haven't gotten my Kohl's online stuff yet, but we bought these in store and we sold 3 of them already for the $8.90, or we got them for $8.99. And sales varied in price, but did I not scan that? Let's try that again. But we did sell them really fast. So we've got more coming in, and hopefully they are the colors that are selling currently. Next up is just another Detroit Tiger visor that we did get for $250. What else happened this week? Oh, I got another negative feedback. Another negative feedback. Yes. I'm not looking forward to moving all my stuff from my dad. Oh my goodness, Recon. I seen you got that job, and I'm like, I was super happy for you, but I feel you. I know exactly what you're going through. I'll be moving probably in the next 6 to 8 months, and I am right there with you. I am dreading it beyond belief, trying to move all that stuff. It's going to be a nightmare. And to try to keep it organized so you don't have to keep the store closed forever, you know, and stuff. Like, you still want to get sales. I feel for you, brother. I feel for you. For sure. Especially because you had some good deals coming up too. Hopefully those still work out for you. But yeah, that's crazy. But hey, if you got the job and it's worth the move, then hey, it'll work out. You'll get through it and you'll look back on it and laugh. But I feel you, man. I'm dreading it as well. On the move. But negative feedback, yeah, that's been my bane recently. And as Goon told me in Bread and Butter in the chat over there, do better. I'm trying to do better. My feedback literally are from buyers that don't ever message me. So it's like either the item arrived damaged or the item didn't arrive. That was one of the most recent ones was the item didn't arrive. And they just left me a negative feedback straight off. Like, they don't contact you, don't do anything. And I even refunded the guy everything, and he still won't change his feedback. And it was really annoying. So it's like, item didn't arrive is the feedback, and so I have to go through and respond. Recon, thank goodness the company's paying. Oh, heck yeah, dude, that's awesome. Company is paying for his move. That's nice. Hopefully, like, I love when they do that, and I've had a couple of moves now, or at least one, and then I'll be getting another one here that will be helping with that. That is super nice, but the one thing I always worry about is them packing my stuff, so I always just took the money and did it myself. Still a lot of work, but that is nice that you're not going to have to pay for it. That's huge. But yeah, so I got that negative feedback. That was actually, I think, 2 weeks ago for that particular one, but then I got another one. This one is from actually that motorcycle tank that I think I showed you guys a picture of last week, and I didn't get enough shipping on it. Freaking Postal Service charged $136 surcharge on it, claiming that I didn't have anywhere near enough postage on it, which the weight was right. They must have got me on the dimensions, and again, I measured it. I don't know. I can't remember if I rounded up like I normally do or not. I must not have at some point. They got me, and they basically charged me a whole nother shipping charge for $136. The buyer had to pay for it. The buyer immediately leaves me negative feedback before messaging me, then messaged me like an hour later after I got the feedback, or at least the feedback came first. I don't know exactly how far it was, but the feedback came first because I seen it when I got logged in and then went to my messages and there was a message, or I didn't have a message yet, and then I got the message like a few minutes after that stating that they were pissed off because they had to pay the extra fee, which I understand. I understand being frustrated and obviously having to pay the extra. All I did is I asked them for the receipt. They sent me the receipt. I emailed them, or I partially refunded them the amount directly on that sale. That was not their fault. That was my fault. I understood that, but they left the negative feedback instantly, and I was just frustrated. But I went ahead and I was like, hey, that's our bad. We'll take care of it. And then we got taken care of, and I sent them a message after the feedback. I said, would you kindly correct the feedback? They actually did it. This is the very first time I've ever had a revision happen to the feedback. The only bad thing about it is the feedback that they left was also included a picture of the overdue postage, which is fine. Again, I understand the frustration at the time, but when they revise that feedback, they can't remove the photo. So I've got a positive feedback that probably no one will ever look at, hopefully, but the photo is still there and it shows the overdue postage. So it doesn't count against me anymore. And I got, like I said, it got corrected, and the buyer was nice enough to do it. They did it the next day or something like that. So it was nice that they corrected it. It cost me a lot, but that was my fault. But it just, it was so aggravating, so frustrating that, they had to leave it, and luckily they did get rid of it. So that was nice. At least they corrected it. I'll give them props to that. Very first one I've ever had. I might have to put my store on vacation mode the whole month of May. I have to look at places move and have other stuff to get done. Yeah, that's rough, man. You could, yeah, especially if you're not going to be in town. I did that whenever I was doing some transitioning and stuff. I partially moved down to Arizona last year during my first year of full-time reselling, and during that I had the same thing. I had to deal with some stuff, and I had to put my store on vacation mode when I was transferring product and all that stuff. It was a crazy ordeal. I wouldn't do it again, but it was nice to have the time down there. But what I ended up doing to help me out with that, once I got it set up, even though I was still out of the house a lot and not being able to ship, I just put it on like a 4 or 5 day handling time. And that worked too. That way you can just come in one day, at least out of a week, and like ship everything. But yeah, if you're not going to be there, you just have to put it on vacation mode. And, it sucks, but at the same time, what do you got to make the move. It's got to happen. It's just like everything else. It won't take that much to get it built back up anyways. So it'll work out for you, brother. But yeah, I feel you. That's rough. Next up, this is actually a pretty cool sale. I forget who the name is, and I do apologize if you're watching. Over in Bread and Butter, we have a spot also in our Discord group that you can post up items for sale that whether it's stuff that you bought that you just don't want anymore, as far as, inventory, or it's inventory you just need to move, like Recon. If he's getting ready to move and he wants to liquidate some of his product, he can get it out. Got to do what you got to do at the end of the day. Exactly, man. Exactly. I have tons of missing packages and also have tons of annoying scams, negative buyers as well. It's part of the game. I mean, it's just like everything else. You can't make everybody happy. That's life in general. But it's part of the game. Unfortunately, I think as resellers, we take it a little too personal. And that's actually an upcoming video topic I want to talk about is resellers in general. Are we too picky? Are we too, whatever you want to call it? It's going to be a good topic. Hopefully we can get some people in to kind of comment and stuff on that one. That'll be coming up here in the next week or two. But yeah, it's just part of the game. You just have to go with it, and it is what it is. But back to this sale, like I said, we have a spot over there that you can post up and sell inventory if you want to, just personally. I've done it some with some bulk hats and stuff that I just had too many of or whatever. We'll post up there, and it just gives them an opportunity to buy it for resale. Obviously, we're not going to get full price over there. And one of the members over there was getting rid of some of these Red Sox hats. Had about 50 of them, actually. Ended up buying them from him. He worked out a great deal on me. We're going to throw it into the $13 category. That's not exactly what was paid for them, but we're going to throw them into that category just because I don't want to necessarily rat them out or anything. But we did pick these up, and we already sold one. I got these in 2 days ago and listed them. Sold this one for $50 in half size. Retail was $45. So super cool deal to pick up from him, and I appreciate it. Hopefully he doesn't get too upset. I hate selling product and then finding out it's sold really fast, but it is what it is. Sometimes you just got to recoup some money. And like I said, it's a nice avenue to have because you got a bunch of resellers that are ready to snag it up. Like myself. I missed out on some slides the other day over there that I should have gotten to. I just messaged them a minute too late. I forget who it is. I think who's selling that? I don't remember now. But anyway, so that's going out to Lucas in Illinois. Lucas in Illinois is getting the Red Sox hat. Actually, super cool hats. I'm glad I was able to pick one. Those basic, solid colors are doing really well for me. The green ones especially are selling like hotcakes. I didn't sell any this week, which is kind of funny, but normally they're moving pretty fast. So super nice to be able to pick some more up. And I love my hats, as you guys know. Next up is another one of those Under Armour hats. Again, this is a size small medium. $8.50, $9 I think after taxes that we have in these, and this one sold for $32.99. And actually retail on these is only $28, so I'm gonna have to, I didn't check that on the last one. I'm gonna have to pull the tag. Amazon buyers are the worst, and I did sell these on Amazon. Hats are pretty safe for the most part. I don't end up with too many returns on hats, every now and then. But what's it called? They don't like seeing prices. I've had so many people comment on like just basic prices, not even like clearance tags or anything like that. Just retail prices on like shoes that are like $5 off or something, or $5 more. I'll sell them for $70, and they had $64.99 on the tag, and they freak out. And like I had a customer get really mad. He didn't return the shoes, which I thought was funny. He opened to return and then never returned them, but was super mad that he's like, the Kohl's tag or the tag on it clearly says they're $70 and you sold them to me for $75. Not counting for the fact that like I paid to ship it to him and everything else. Like they don't care about that. A lot of buyers don't understand that shipping actually costs money. I really don't think they do, because we've gotten them in the habit of this free shipping thing. But yeah, I have to really pay attention to the tags, even the retail tags on these when I sell them over there. So we got that one going out. That's another topic, returns. I have it on my list. I do want to cover it here soon, hopefully in the next few videos. Are returns the devil? That's not what I'll title it, but are returns bad? And when I say returns, is offering returns bad? I actually recently watched a video from A Reseller, another YouTuber on here, Tech and Sports. Same video that we watched the Macari stuff from, but they were talking about returns because of Macari offering free returns. And he actually made some really good points. And like I said, I'm not going to cover it in this video, but made some really good points, and something that has me considering turning returns on, considering it on certain items, not everything, but on certain items. It does have me considering it. And I'll just give a sneak peek here, I guess, of kind of the topic that I want to talk about. But one of them mentioned was, do you shop from places that don't offer returns? The answer for me is I don't. At least on certain categories, clothing, stuff like that. If they don't offer free returns, I'm probably not going to shop there. That is how it is. And it got me thinking, again, not saying that you have to offer free returns, but if you don't offer returns at all, like, I'm not going to probably buy a lot of stuff from a place that doesn't offer any returns at all. And I do on eBay. I will buy stuff on eBay as kind of the exception, but it's something to consider, especially in the market that I'm in, and a lot of us resellers are in, as far as these clothing and stuff like that goes, is would you be willing to buy a product and not accept returns, let alone free returns? Obviously, free returns is kind of another topic, but it's a good question, and it's got me thinking, and I haven't made up my mind on it, and obviously it's going to vary from person to person on their opinions on it, for sure, but it's a good topic, and I do want to cover it in a later video, because it stopped me and made me start thinking about it, and definitely has me considering it for some different products that I do carry. Maybe not shoes, because I get tired of shipping these, but some other categories. These Crocs are actually something we picked up from Ross for $15. These were last year slides. Sold them for $40, so not a terrible buy, but I had to hold on to them for a long time, and they got tanked. Crocs from Ross and Marshalls get tanked super bad really fast on Amazon and eBay. They're almost a hold play now, which kind of sucks. They used to be a pretty instantaneous sale. You could flip them pretty quick for some good money. Not the case as much anymore. And like I said, especially the ones from these retailers, they're getting so many of them now that they just aren't working. So 15 and 40 is good, but like I said, I've had these for over a year now, so probably not something I would buy in the future, just because it takes forever for that market to come back. I don't know, maybe if they didn't take up so much room, I think I would be interested in them. But they're hard to store. They're not in a box. They're just hard to store, and that's why I don't look for them that much anymore. But we do have those going out. Only a few more orders, guys. We're actually almost done here. Thank you guys for those of you that have stuck around. I do appreciate it. And thank you guys for those of you that are rewatching this. If you've made it this far, you guys are awesome. And I do appreciate all your support. Next up, we've got the last of our large size Under Armour boxer briefs 2-pack going out. $32.99 is what they sold for, and we paid $12 for these. I am almost out completely of my bulk boxers and stuff, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for those because they do well and they sell consistent for me over on Amazon, and I need to get some more. Gotta find another deal on that, so hopefully we can find some here soon to kind of replenish my stock. I want to have these to just have that consistent sale, and I haven't bought any recently, so that's on me, but we'll get some more soon. For sure. There's always money out there. There is always good deals. You just have to find them, and every now and then you gotta wait for them to pop up. But when they do, be ready to jump on them because they will make you money. That deal there alone has made me quite a bit. I don't know the numbers right off, but I've sold probably at least 100 boxes or more now. This next one is a online lead that I found that is one of my favorites because it's a topic and a product that I use and really enjoy. And that is off-roading stuff. These were some light pods, or pod lights, I guess I should say, from Rigid Off-Road Industries. These are, or I guess it should say Rigid Industries. These were a Black Friday deal, something that they were discontinuing, and they were selling these. Picked them up for $57 a set, which is a little bit expensive, but $57 a set. And we sold them for $170 each. We actually sold 2 to the same buyer. So it is going to be a total of $340 for this sale. Let's see, am I doing this right? No. Yeah, $350. So $110, $115 or so into $360. I will take that all day long. This box is not the right size. These are packed inside the box very well. I've opened them before to make sure. So I'm not worried about them getting banged around or anything like that. But they do need a little bit more extra packing here. Let me throw some in the side so they're not banging around. Maybe. Man, I'm almost out of these. Okay. So we're going to adjust these just a little bit here. And stick these inside. Like I said, the box is a little bit small for them, but they are padded really well inside, so we make it work. That way it keeps them secure, and you don't really have to worry about it too much. But good sale there. Like I said, this is something that I enjoy. I'm big into off-roading for like side-by-sides and UTVs and stuff like that. So finding this was super cool. That's weird. Box is all backwards. I love selling stuff that I enjoy, so I didn't want to spend the money on these, but I knew they were worth it because I buy this stuff for my own rig, and my friends and us all do. So I knew they were worth the money, and they had a good resale on them, and that's the only reason I did it. But it's one of those areas that I don't source for. Like, this is not something that I would obviously source for. I just happened to get the email for Black Friday, and my reseller brain picked up on the fact that it was probably a good buy. So we went ahead and picked those up. Gonna set those out of the way here. And I think we're actually almost out. I think I bought 60 boxes of those. It was a pretty big buy. And I think we're down to like 20 of them. So we're moving right along eventually. Another one of these hats from the close clearance event. This is the Under Armour hat here again. Paid $9 for these, and sold this one, only sold for $25.99, 26 bucks. It's a medium large, and there were a ton of listings on it. Normally I'd hold out for them, but I'm just trying to get some, not quick flips, I don't want to say quick flips, but I'm pricing that market currently, even though I know I could get more if I held out and waited for them. I'm just afraid there's going to be a lot more coming out and it's going to tank for even longer because of that Kohl's event. I know I have more of these coming, so we went ahead and took the money. Like I said, it's not a crazy price, but we got retail out of it. I mean, what more can you ask for? We got 26 and they retail for 28, so we'll take that all day long. And like I said, we're gonna sell through these and hopefully get some more. Hats are one of those things I'm getting a lot of, so I don't mind taking the market price on these ones here, especially the branded ones and the ones that we're selling over on Amazon. We'll make our quick flip on those and not tank the price on them. People are still tanking prices like crazy on hats, and makes me not want to share leads on hats. Like, I'm not saying our people are doing it, but like, it's really rough. I hate seeing that market. I don't want to see that market become the new, brick shoe market or anything like that, but we'll see how it goes. Just have to see how it goes, as with everything. Next up, we got some more slides. It is slide season, guys. If you have those slides, get those listed because they are starting to fly. These are just those blue. I've shown them before. They're a little bit hard to take out of the box, but those blue Adidas cheap slides. They look like they should be $10, but we're selling them for $24. We paid $5, I think, for these from a Kohl's clearance event a long time ago. Long time ago. Actually, this might have been one of the first Kohl's clearance events, maybe the second one. If that, but sold it. Trying to get this down. These envelopes are a little bit small for these, but they fit barely. And they're free. I love these free ones. Free packaging. I did get also, guys, if you need shoe boxes, I meant to mention this with all those shoes. Oh, I know a tanker or two who loves tanking hats, right? We already had some drama with that this morning. The shoe boxes, guys, if you need shoe boxes, there's a link in my description for them. Hit that link up right now. They are on Staples. They're only $1.06, I think, a box and they're the same size. I haven't got mine in. I'm pretty sure they're the same quality. They might be a little bit thinner, but honestly, that's fine for shoes. These ones I have are crazy thick. I don't know why they're so thick, but they're a great price, and they're from Staples, like I said. They're $1.06, but if you sign up for their renewal, so like they'll send you so many every 6 months or every year, whatever you want to set it up as, they will give you right now 40% off your first sign up for that. I bought, I think, 12 packages of 25, 300 total boxes, and I got the boxes at 40% off. They're like 68 cents a box. That is crazy cheap for shoe boxes. So if you need some, hit that link up. I don't know how long that's going to last. It depends on when you're watching this video. It's been up for about a week now, but definitely check it out. Like I said, you can set up that subscription. Basically, I set mine up for a year. So in a year, they're going to send me 12 more cases of those. But you can cancel that or anything once you get your first order in. There's no fees for canceling it or anything like that. And you can take advantage of that 40% off. I recommend obviously buying in bulk. You want to buy as many of them as you can. I bought 300. That'll last me. It should last me a year, maybe a little less than a year. But I went ahead and did that. So take advantage of it. Like I said, link in the description box under shoe boxes. I hope I have the right link in there. If it goes to eBay, it's not that one. We'll fix it if you're watching this right now. But I'm going to double check the link afterwards. But it should go to the Staples and hit that. It is an affiliate link as well, guys. I always want to mention that. I don't want you guys to think I'm just promoting it because of that. This is actually, like I said, a really good deal. And that's why I have it down there. So I do get a little bit back from that if you do make that purchase. But it's like I said, you can't go anywhere and get those size boxes for 65 cents. They work for other things besides shoes too. But they'll fit almost any shoe size, any shoe box size besides like boots. That's about the only one that might be a little bit too big. So check it out if you haven't already. Definitely recommend it because that is a steal of a deal on some boxes. And I love me some boxes. I love being able to use new boxes, like I said. And 65 cents is a steal. I forgot to pull this, but I think I can pull it pretty easy. We've got a pair of Nike Vapor baseball pants. I'm about out of these, honestly. I say I'm out. I guess I shouldn't say I'm about out. I've still got a lot of certain sizes, but we are narrowing it down pretty good here. These are a size extra large. Not flipping for as much as I was, but still decent. These sold for $49.99. And they are going out to Christy. We've got on average $20. I was buying these all marketplace, and I'm going to share that in this video because it can still be done, but it's not something that's as popular or not being as profitable for me. I was actually buying these on eBay for about $20 a pair and flipping them on Amazon for 50 to 60. And I did that all last year. Bought them from a whole bunch of people. It was one of those rare buys that you could flip from one marketplace to another. And it was just the market wasn't that high on eBay, but people go to Amazon to buy this stuff for their sports. They don't look anywhere else. And so the market was crazy high on Amazon versus eBay. So we were buying them originally for like $5 to $10, I think, in Burlington and Ross. That was a call out we made in Bread and Butter. So we were buying them from there. That's what got me started in it. And then I was being able to sell them for 50 to 60 on Amazon. And then I started looking elsewhere. Come across several sellers on eBay that were selling them for like $15 because, again, they couldn't get rid of them. They were just tanking that price. Sometimes tanking is good. You can take advantage of it every now and then. But everybody was tanking the price because they were buying them for $5. And I bought hundreds of pairs and sold them. I say hundreds, probably 100 or more on eBay, and sold them all on Amazon. We still have some left for this season. They kind of slowed down after the season, but we are still doing very well with the baseball pants. So you never know where you're going to find the sourcing opportunities. And like I said, you can even source from one to the other. I've bought on Amazon and sold on eBay. I bought on Amazon and sold on Amazon. eBay to Amazon, you can do it many different ways. Next up, we got some more slides. These are the Nike leopard print slides. I think I've shown these before. Oh, I grabbed the wrong ones. All right, well, we won't ship these. Good thing I checked. Not these, but they are similar. These are the white leopard print, and the ones we sold are actually the orange ones. Kind of like a cheetah print more than a leopard, I guess. But I grabbed the wrong one, so I do need to go grab the correct box for that. So we're going to have to skip that order and go back to the next one. But we did sell those, paid I think $8 for them, and we sold them for $29.99. Next up is the bucket hat, Adidas bucket hat that we've been showing off. I'm gonna just ship it in one of these. I kind of stick them in a box normally, but I don't feel like it. This one sold for $23.99. We picked these up for, I believe, $8 or $6 on a Kohl's clearance event. Thought they would go higher, but they didn't. So we're just selling them out. It is bucket hat season. People are looking at it, looking for them, and they are starting to sell. So hopefully we can move through. I think we got one or two. Let's go into Gabriel and San Diego as well. Got one more order, guys. Thank you so much again for joining us today. For those of you that watched even through the clips, I do appreciate it. Thank you for all your support. And for those of you that are watching this after the video, thank you guys so much. You don't know how much that means to me. Like I said, we want to just grow this channel and keep it going. That's the whole reason we do these videos, is just to keep this going. I feel like this is an area that not a lot of sellers doing. I do see a bunch more of them starting now that I have. Not saying they're copying me, but I do appreciate you guys' support in this. Like I said, these lives are a little bit different. They're not what everybody else is doing, and they do take up some time. But I feel like it's an area where we can interact and be kind of interactive with you guys and allow you guys to have a way of communicating and chatting and just engaging with us as we do it. And it gives me a way of doing these what solds in a different light to kind of show you guys not only what we do, but where we got it, and kind of give you some background on some of that. So thank you guys again for all of that. Our last sale of the day going out is this Arnold Palmer hat that we picked up from Burlington. I seen this and immediately grabbed it. Didn't even have to comp it. Not saying that's just because I know what I'm doing, but it's way too cool and a well-known brand. It's a Puma actual brand hat, obviously with Arnold Palmer on the tag and everything. Retails $35. We actually got $35 for it. It was on clearance for $7.69, but I would have still bought it at the $10.99 that Burlington had it originally, and it sold super fast. So really nice sale over there. Like I said, $35. So 7 into 35. I'm sorry, 8 into 35. And we will take that all day long. I wish I would have found some more of those. That's a really cool hat, and I know they would have sold going into golf season. Obviously, it's already golf season started up. Going out to Brad in Minnesota. And that will wrap it up. So like I said, guys, we'll be doing the next video hopefully next Monday if everything goes to plan. We'll be posting on Instagram all kinds of behind the scenes and everything over there as well. So if you haven't followed us over there, I greatly appreciate it. Hit that like button, thumbs up, subscribe. We do appreciate you all and your support with all of that. We look forward to doing more content. We'll hopefully have that Burlington video out maybe this weekend, if not this weekend, next weekend at the latest, and give you guys a little bit more insight into sourcing and all of that. But I think that is going to be it. Thanks for talking about boxes. Need more hat boxes. Hey, if you need hat boxes, I might have a link in the description. If I don't, I'll put some down there, but you know where to find them, Recon. You can find some good deals on those as well. Check out those links down below. We've got some more videos, got some more content over there, as well as some collabs with some other resellers and stuff like that. So definitely check those out. Like I said, bread and butter, you'd hear me talk about it a lot, but if you have questions on it, let me know. There's a sign up link down below also if you just want to jump into it. But I'll be more than happy to help you out over there as well. And like I said, we'll be seeing you guys hopefully next Monday, if not before. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.